Hey everyone, welcome to American Mahjong. This is the place to be if you're a beginner and you want to learn how to play. Just remember, don't get overwhelmed by all the information. Yes, it's a lot to learn, but if you can get through 2 to 3 rounds, you're gonna be golden and you're gonna end up being hooked. So, the point of Mahjong is to complete a line off of a Mahjong card that looks like this. And the line looks like this. Now I'm going to explain each of the tiles and how you can create a line like that. Once you finish a line, you say Mahjong and you win that round. It's exciting and it's fun. So there's lots of different lines, lots of different tiles, but in order to play, you've got to know what the tiles are. So I've set them up for you right here. There are different suits in Mahjong, kind of like playing cards, right? So the first suit we have, these are called the dots, right? These are called crack, and these are called bam, kind of like bamboo. A lot of the sets that you'll play with will look like bamboo. Of each of these tiles, there's 4 each of every tile. Now, each of the tiles has a dragon that goes with it. There's the dragon that goes with the dots. This is called soap. It looks like a rectangle. I know that's kind of weird, but in any set you use, it looks like a rectangle. And the reason that it's different from the other 2 dragons is because it's the only tile in the whole set that can be a 0. So on your Mahjong card, you'll notice that there are zeros. So when you have a 0, that's the one that you can use for a 0 because there aren't any other zeros in the game. There's also a red dragon. We call it the crack dragon. It goes with the crack. There's also a green dragon, and it's the bam dragon. It goes with the bam. Now, another set of tiles are the flowers. Flowers can look different, but they're all in the same family. So on a card where you see something that says FFF, those are the flowers. You can use any flowers for those. The ones right above, these are called the winds. North, south, east, west. On the card, that would be anything that says N, E, W, or S. Then you have the jokers. So a joker is a wild card. You can use it. I'm going to explain the rules for the jokers in a minute and where you can use jokers. And then we also have blanks. A lot of the sets do not have blanks, and that's okay. But if you do have a set that has blanks, it's life-changing. We started playing Mahjong without blanks, and it was super fun, and that's how they compete. But if you want to have a variation that's a little bit easier, you're going to use the blanks. I'll explain how to use those. Now, of each of these tiles, there's 4 each of each of these, 4 each, 4 each, 4, 4, 4. There's 8 to 10 jokers. There's 6 blanks, and then there's 4 each of the winds, and there's 8 flowers, okay? So that's how it's set up. In order to play the game, you've got to take combinations of these tiles that match these lines, right? Now this card is copyrighted, so I can't have you be copying the card and we can't focus too much on it, but I do want to show you how some of these lines are put together. So I'm going to start by telling you what the categories are. Now, anytime I have someone playing for the first time, I make sure that they start to collect tiles in the category. Don't feel like you have to figure out what line you're going to use from the get-go. If you try to do that, it's going to be overwhelming and you won't like the game. What you want to do is focus on the categories. So I'm using the card from last year because the new cards came out and I figured I probably wouldn't show it to you. You'll need to buy your own. The next category is 2, 4, 6, 8. The next one is any like numbers. Now, if you notice in here, we have lots of ones, right? When it says any like numbers, it means you can use any number that's alike. So those could be 8s, 9s, 7s, 4s. It doesn't matter. They just have to be the same. Now, if you come over here, the next category would be the quints. And then we've got consecutive runs. We've got 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. These are all combinations of those numbers. You come over here, and these are the winds and dragons. They're going to be combinations of our winds and our dragons. So these are our winds and these are our dragons, right? So then we've got our 3, 6, 9, and we've got another one. These are the doubles and pairs, right? My card was printed not saying doubles and pairs. But these ones are the doubles and pairs. They're very hard to get. If you notice on the card, there's point values, right? The point values let you know how hard those lines are to get. The 25 pointers, go for it, right? So I'm gonna show you a line that I got, and this line is in our any like numbers. So if you'll notice, the numbers I'm using are 9s, right? So I've got 2 flowers. So down here, I've got 2 flowers. I've got 4 of the 9 cracked. Now notice, I can use a joker. You can only use jokers for sets of 3, 4, or 5, right? Those are called pungs. That's 3 of a kind, kongs, 4 of a kind, and quints, 5 of a kind. You can use a joker for that. You can never use a joker for doubles or for singles or for any type of run. Okay, so I want you to look. I've got this down here, and then I've got the dragon that matches it. So notice, these are all the same color. It doesn't mean I'm doing the BAM ones. It just means I picked a suit. I picked the dragon that went with that suit, and then I picked a different suit, and I picked the dragon that went with that suit. So I did the 9 BAMs. I've got a couple jokers, and then the BAM dragon. And then if you notice at the very end of this line, there's a pair. I can't use a joker for a pair, but I was able to get 2 of the 9 dots. So that was the final one. And as soon as I pulled that up, I yelled, Mahjong, and I won. Now I'm gonna show you another line, all right? This line right here is in our category. If you notice, there's 2s, 4s, 6, and 8s. So what category do you think I did? You're right. I went to the 2, 4, 6, 8 category, all right? Now, if you look down, this is the one where I've got 2 different suits. So these are the same, and these are the same, but they're different on here. So I didn't do this one. That would have meant that all of those had to be the same suit. They would have had to all be dots. But instead, I went for this one. So I did dots for this suit, and then I had to do a different suit because it's a different color, and I did the crack for that suit. Once again, I used a joker because it was a set of 4. I used a joker here, a set of 4. I could have used a joker here as well, or here, but I didn't need it. Once I drew that last tile, I yelled Mahjong, and I won. Now, one more line I'd like to show you. This is in our Winds and Dragons. So if you look up here, I decided to go for this top row. I've got 4 Norse. So here we go. Because they're the same, I was able to use my joker. Now I've got these 2, they're the same. This east, 3 of those, 3 of my wests, and how many souths? I got 4 of my souths. I was able to use a joker because it's not a pair. Once I pulled the last one, I yelled Mahjong. Now you're probably wondering, how in the world do I get to this point? Well, that's a whole different story that I'll explain in just a minute. All right, the board's all set up. The way you do this is you take all the tiles and you put them upside down and you put them in a row. This is called a wall. There's 4 walls on the Mahjong table. Okay, when you put them in the wall, if you're playing with blanks, you're gonna have 20 double-sided, you're gonna have them stacked by 2. So you're gonna have 40 in front of you, 20 in length on each side of the board. Now you're gonna have some dice, and with all 4 of you, each of you are gonna roll the die and see who gets the highest number. Whoever gets the highest number, they're gonna be the ones who are going to deal the tiles. So now I'm the one who got the highest number, so I'm gonna roll the die one more time. Let's look what that is. It looks like we got an 8. So I'm gonna take these and I'm gonna start from the right side and I'm gonna count 8 tiles in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm gonna put the die right there so that I remember that that's where it is. This is where the wall is going to end. It's gonna end on that die. So I need to start right here. So I'm gonna move my slider over here and I'm gonna push the wall out, starting right there so that I can start to dill from that point. I'm gonna take these 4 and I'm gonna give them to me first. I call this breakfast. I'm gonna give myself breakfast. And then counterclockwise, you're always gonna go counterclockwise when you're playing, all right? So counterclockwise, I'm going to then give this person their breakfast. Then I'm going to give this person their breakfast. This person, their breakfast. And then I'm gonna start giving lunch. So I'm gonna take 4 more tiles and I'm gonna give those to me first, and then counterclockwise, lunch. And then this person's gonna push out their wall. So as they push out their wall, and you're always gonna push it from the left side, you'll hold the left side down and you'll push with the right, okay? And you'll take that, and we've got lunch over there, but no lunch over here. So we're gonna give lunch, and then we're gonna give lunch over here. Now we're gonna give dinner. So you're gonna take the next 4, and you're gonna give dinner, and then dinner, and then dinner over here, and dinner over here. Now, when we get to this point, we need the person who is dealing to have two tiles. Everyone else is going to get 1. The reason why is because this person's going to start with 14 tiles so that they can be the first to discard. Everyone else will only have 13 tiles. In order to do this, we're going to take this first one, we're going to give it here, and we're going to take the third one, and we're going to give it here. Remember, I said they need 2. Now, you're probably wondering, why did I take the first and the third? Well, the reason why I took the first and the third is because if I was just dealing this normal, I would deal to me, I would deal to this person, I would deal to this person, I would deal to this person, and look what tile is left. It's this one. So instead, I just do 1 and 3 for me, and then I deal the others out. So once you have all the tiles, you're gonna take those tiles and you're gonna put them up on your racks. Once you put it up on your rack, you're gonna wanna put them right side up, and you're gonna wanna sort them by, well, however you like to sort it. I personally like to sort it by their suit and then in numerical order. So I put all my dots together down here. Now I'm taking all of my cracks and putting those together, kind of in order. And then I'm gonna take my BAMs and put those together. And this is the BAM dragon, so I'm gonna just pair that with that. Oh, I have another dot, so let's scoot that in right here. And I have another crack right there, so I'm gonna put that in. So right now I see that I have BAMs, the dragon, my crack, and my dots, and that's all I have. I didn't get any jokers. That's kind of unfortunate. Let's see what this guy got. I already sorted for this one, and they've got all sorts of things. They got a joker and a blank, a flower, some cracks. They've got some BAM, they've got the dots, and they've got an east and a west. We're gonna actually start with this line because this is gonna kind of be a little bit difficult. So what happens at this point is you have to do what's called a Charleston. This is where you've got to get rid of 3 of your tiles and pass it to the right. So how in the world are we going to decide which 3 tiles to get? Look at all these lines. It's impossible. How are you even going to know? This is where people get stuck and where they think, I can't do this. This is too much thinking. Here's my advice. Look at the line, look at the things that you have, and look at the categories, okay? Remember our categories. So if I'm looking right here, it doesn't look like I have a lot of the same numbers, so I'm probably not gonna go for any like numbers. I kind of have a mess of things. I've got a couple wins. I've got maybe some, I mean, really, you could go anywhere with this. The category would be hard to pick because there's so many different tiles. Personally, if this was me playing right now, I would think this hand stinks, but that's okay. I might just look at it and say, you know what? I could go for 3, 6, 9. I could maybe try to go for 20, 25, but no, it's not really looking good. So I'm just gonna get rid of 3 random ones. I'm probably not gonna get a whole lot of wins. So I'm gonna maybe take one of my wins. I'm gonna probably take, I kind of like to save the flowers just in case I get them later. I have a lot of BAMs, so maybe I could go for something in consecutive runs. So I might just get rid of maybe this 8 and possibly this 5 as well. And I'm gonna put those in front of me to trade with to send to the person to the right. Now this hand is way easier to decide what to get rid of. And that's just the thing about this game. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's hard, but don't worry. You just don't want to get overwhelmed. Just make sure you look at the categories, okay? So if I'm looking at this, I can see, oh, I already have like a 2, 4, 6, 8 combination. Did you know that there's even a thing on here? 2, 4, 6, 8? Wow. I may want to try to go for that. That means I would pick 2, 4, 6, 8 of this, And then I would pick any even number. If you notice in here, it says any even number. Those don't have to be 2s. They could be 4s, 6s, 8s. And I have kind of a lot of 4s. So honestly, in my mind, I'm looking at this line saying I might want to go for that. So I'm going to get rid of tiles that aren't in the 2, 4, 6, 8 category or aren't on that line. So I'm probably going to get rid of this. I might not want to get rid of both of these because that could benefit someone else. So I might take that. I might take this 1. And then I'm going to take my north wind because I'm probably not going to use that. Those are the 3 I'm going to get rid of on this. All right, let's see what this person has. Kind of a mix of things. They kind of have a lot of cracks, a lot of dots, not too many bam. They kind of have more odd numbers in some ways. So maybe we'll try to go for something in this 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. I have no idea which one we're going to go for. And that's okay. You don't need to know. You just need to have an idea because you've got to get rid of 3 tiles to pass to the right. So let's look right here. If I'm going to try to go for those odd ones, I probably don't need these. In general, it's usually recommended that you don't pass all of your evens at the same time. Then people might know what you're going for. Sometimes I'm good at not doing that or making sure that I don't send them. And then other times I just don't care because I want to get what I need. So now everyone, we have one more. Let's see what this person's going to get rid of. All right, so we've got some evens here, 2, 4, 6, 8 category. We've got the dragon that goes with it, so that's nice. The dragons don't have any superpower or anything. It's just a D on the board. Anywhere that you see a D, those are dragons. So I'm just looking at that. Let's see, what else do we have? A couple of their even ones. Not really any runs. Boy, this one's kind of tricky. You could look at this forever, and that's where people will get stuck. They'll look at it and they'll think way too much. I don't want to think too much. That's when I get stuck, when I'm thinking too much. I'm just looking at it going, you know what? I'm probably going to go for some of the evens. Okay, so I'm maybe going to take this 7, and I'm maybe going to take one of these 5s, and I'm going to take maybe one of these 1s. So I just broke my own rule. I passed all of the odds, but there's differing opinions on this, and you can decide what you think. Now, I place these in front of me with an arrow pointing to the right. That's just so that I remember. So you're going to pass those to the right. Everyone's going to pick up the tiles that they just received, and then they're going to see what they got, and then they're going to pick 3 more to pass straight across. All right. Everyone's picked their 3 that they need to pass straight across, and I just put it in an arrow so that I know we're going straight across. Now everyone's going to pick up those tiles, and then the final part of the Charleston is they're going to pick 3 more to pass to the left. Hey, everyone picked what they needed to pass to the left. So you notice there's an arrow going to the left. They're going to pass these to them, and so forth all the way around. Now on this round, if you all of a sudden decide, oh man, I just have some great tiles. I don't want to get rid of all 3 of them. So let's say that this person doesn't want to get rid of all 3. Only on the 3rd round of the Charleston, when you're passing left, can you do what's called a blind pass. So we're going to say that this person wants to keep this tile, right? They only want to pass 2. So what they're going to do is when they get the tiles from this person, they're just going to take one of those tiles. They can't look at it. They're just going to grab one, and they're going to pass that on. And they'll only get to pick up 2 because they only gave 2. So they'll put those 2 in front of them, and then they'll pass those to the other. Now, when everyone has finished passing their final tiles, you can decide to do it all over again, which is called a second Charleston, and you would go left, center, right. Or if even one person says, nope, I don't want a Charleston again, you can do what's called a courtesy pass with the person straight across. Now the courtesy pass for me is going to be with this person straight across for me. So I'm going to say, do you want to do 1, 2, or 3 tiles to pass? We both decided that we wanted to do 3 tiles each. So we're going to take those tiles. I'll give mine to that person, and they'll give theirs to me. And as soon as I put those on my board and they put those on their board, we are done with the Charleston and we are ready to play. All right, since I'm the one who dealt the tiles, I'm the one who goes first. I have 14 tiles in front of me. Everyone else has 13. At all times in the game, you're only supposed to have 13 tiles. You'll draw a tile and discard a tile. At the end of the game, when you Mahjong, because you'll notice each one of these lines is 14 tiles long. When you pick up that final one and you say Mahjong, that's your 14th tile. So since I'm starting, I'm going to discard one of my tiles and get going. When I discard, I'm going to say the name of the tile, the number, and the suit. So I'll say 3 bam. And that lets the person counterclockwise know it's their turn to go. So if nobody wants this 3 bam, then this person over here is going to draw from the wall. They're going to look at the tile. Ooh, that's lucky. They got a blank. And then they're going to pick one of their tiles that they're getting rid of. And they're going to say east wind. We'll go around to the next one. Nobody wanted that east wind. So they're going to draw from the wall. They're going to look at that tile. Ooh, that's exactly what they needed. I want to point out which line this one is going for. If you notice, there's a 2, 4, 6, 8, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4 joker. We don't really need those. We're going for this line right here. Now, we don't have any flowers right now, so that might be hard to get. But because it's a 4 of a kind or a Kong, we can use jokers for that. So there's a good chance we could get them, right? So I pulled up that 4, so I'm going to get rid of one of these. I'm going to say 5 crack. Now let's say somebody needed that 5 crack. If they want that 5 crack, they have to pick it up right after it's been discarded, and then they have to reveal whatever part of that line they're going for. So if it's a 3 of a kind, they can't put it here. They have to put it out here. They can only pick up if it's for 3 of a kind, 4 of a kind, or 5 of a kind. They can't pick up if it's for a run. They can't pick up if it's for a double. And then they always have to expose, okay? So if nobody wants that, then we go to this next person, and they're going to draw from the wall. They look at their tile, and they decide, what do I need? Wow, that might be good. I might be able to go for some type of a run here. I'm still not quite sure what I'm going for, but I know I don't really need these, so I'm going to get rid of that. East wind is what I'll say. You're going to continue to do this all the way around until you get all the way through the whole wall. So as soon as we finish this wall, then this person will push out their wall. When that wall gets done, the other person will push out their wall. When that wall gets done, the final person will get out their wall. If nobody mahjongs after the whole wall has finished, the wall wins and nobody gets mahjong. And that is how you play mahjong. All right, one thing I forgot to teach you, and that was how to use the blanks. So I'm on this row. Remember, I don't have any flowers and I need a flower. And I'm not going to be able to pick one from the center because I would need the other, look, I need 4 flowers in order to compete this. If someone lays a flower down, someone laid a flower down right here. I can't pick that up because I don't have the other 3 flowers and I can't play that if I pick up. So since I can't pick that up, at some point during the game when it's not my turn, I'm going to take this blank and I'm going to secretly put it in the middle of the floor and I'm going to take that flower, okay? And I don't even have to do that right after they play the flower. The whole idea is that whatever is out there on the board, I can use my blank to pick that up and put the blank down whenever it's not my turn. That is the beauty of being able to have a blank in your hand, because now I can start collecting my flowers. Now the jokers, if you ever have a joker, and let's say I had to expose this, right? Let's say I picked up a 4 bam and I had to expose. So now that's out there. If somebody else draws a 4 bam from the wall, they are able to, on their turn, exchange that for my joker. So let's say she gets a 4 bam and she says, oh, I want your joker. She's gonna hand me the joker, or hand me the 4 bam. I'm gonna put the 4 bam right here and I'm gonna give her the joker. There's a lot of other things that go into this game, and as you play, you're gonna learn all of them. If you have questions, put a comment in my in this video and I'll answer any questions that you have. I'll do my best. Have fun, and just remember, you got to get through at least 2 to 3 rounds before you'll like this game. 1 round isn't enough because it's sometimes overwhelming. And just make sure you enjoy the company, you have fun with what you're doing, and when you look at the card, pick the category first. I can't emphasize that enough. You don't have to know which line you're going for as you start the play. Sometimes you won't know what line you're going for until halfway through the wall, and then it will just come to you and you'll know. But it's super fun. When you get your first Mahjong, you'll be hooked. Have a great day.